Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. All right, this is going to be a reading on Lieutenant General Michael Flynn. You would know him as part of the Trump administration, where Trump wanted to name him Secretary of Defense, I believe. And this caused Sally Yates, who I believe was the acting attorney general at the time, to walk over to the Trump administration and say, no, do not do this. This man is a crook and he's under investigation basically for espionage. And they promptly fired her. And, Michael Flynn did not get that position, and he was shown to be working as a foreign agent for Turkey, amongst other things. And he's been a big Trumper and election denier, so on and so forth. In looking up news on him recently, we've come across that the Rhode Island has their own Hall of Fame, and in September, October of last year, he was voted in to become inducted to be a member of the Rhode Island Hall of Fame, which then led to about a half a dozen board members on that Rhode Island Hall of Fame to resign their positions in protest, because basically they said, this guy's committed treason, he's lied to the FBI, he's acted as a foreign agent, this is not somebody we should be putting into our Hall of Fame. The president, this guy, I believe his last name is Connolly, let's get it here real quick. Yes, his name is Patrick Connolly, was basically saying that basically that if they induct him, then that will vindicate Michael Flynn against this Russia hoax, that just like Trump is serving the Russia hoax. So MAGA is alive and well in Rhode Island. So let's read on Michael Flynn and what he's up to, and what all the fun stuff that's going on with Mike Flynn. Just like the Steve Bannon one, we got the Mike Flynn stuff, but Mike Flynn's not facing imminent criminal charges like Steve Bannon is. At least not that I know of. Entertainment purposes only. Mike Flynn, what's the energy around this guy? My deck is upside down. Just like Bannon, he's fighting off lots of accusations and stuff like that. He's going across the country supporting Trump and stuff like that, but there's a lot of pushback and resistance. Again, even in Rhode Island, where this guy grew up, and they want to put him in their Hall of Fame, there are a lot of people pushing back for very reasonable reasons. It's easily justified saying, no, this guy basically lied to the FBI, committed treason. Why would you vindicate him? He doesn't deserve vindication. One of the nominees who is being voted to be elected said, could you take my name off the list? I don't want to be in the same class as Michael Flynn. I can't say I blame him. So this is Flynn. He's got lots of battles going on, a lot of battles coming up. But, despite that, apparently he's still getting his accolades. Unlike the pillow guy, he doesn't have any pillows to hawk. So he's out there just selling himself and surviving it. But at the same time, this guy has no future. These Three of Cups, just like Bannon, could be us celebrating his eventual downfall here. He's got no future here. His day in the sun has passed. Let's just put it that way. In the past, Two of Swords. He had it, and going all the way back to him lying to the FBI with regards to Trump, and with regards to his actions with Turkey and misrepresenting himself and not declaring himself an agent to Turkey, so on and so forth. This guy's been in a downward spiral for a while. And it's all his own choices. He chose to go down the path he chose to go down. And it's going to ruin his reputation all along the way. Current situation, Four of Swords. I would not say that he has lied low. I would not say that he's contemplating things. I think what this means, because he's out there campaigning for Trump and doing stuff like that. I think what this means is that people might be starting to cool on Mike Flynn a bit, or there are cases waiting Mike Flynn that haven't been pursued yet, but they're just, they're sitting there with the engine idling, getting ready to go. Think of it as you will, like the January 6th insurrection case. Trump is the only person that's being brought to trial for that right now via the Jack Smith case with Judge Tanya Chutkin. But there's 6 unindicted co-conspirators. I can't remember if Mike Flynn is one of those. Let me check real quick. Okay, we're back. He is not one of the January 6th unindicted co-conspirators. Darn, I just shuffled my cards halfway through the read. Oh, well, we'll keep shuffling. Nor is he was involved in the Georgia RICO case. But there might be some other cases that they've got going on. The Emperor card's popping up here. There might be some other cases going on involving Mike Flynn. But for right now, it's like the investigations or prosecutions against him have taken a back seat to other things going on. Come back on back. Come on down. What's the overarching energy here? Page of Swords. If Mike Flynn were cooperating with the DOJ, that might explain why some of these cases are taking a nap. Now, as you recall, he was cooperating with the Department of Justice for a while on, I believe, the Russia case, the Mueller report, and then he stopped. Basically, Trump told them to stop and was going to give him a pardon, and then he stopped participating in that case. They had plea deals and stuff like that. This is the one where the judge basically looked at Flynn's antics or his actions and was going back to the Department of Justice saying, you could be charging him with treason. You know that, right? And then admonished them and said, go back. I'm rejecting this plea deal. Go back and rethink your lives. And then that's when Flynn dropped off and would no longer cooperate. And then I believe he got pardoned by Trump or something along those lines. So at one point he was a cooperating person, a spy. Maybe he's cooperating again. But, when he gave him all that information, it gave him leads on things to pursue. I'm kind of curious how this is going to be going here. It's, in some ways, he's just like a sword for hire. Maybe that's the simplest way to put it. He's a sword for hire. He's a mercenary who happens to be a lieutenant general. The lesson to be learned is the strength card. Perseverance is the first word that comes to mind. It could be, they don't have a strong case against him now, but maybe the cases could be built later on against him. It could also just be that as a lieutenant general and having in his positions and leveraging himself with Trump and MAGA, it's provided him some strength to fend off investigations for now. We don't have to like it. That's just what I'm getting with it. That doesn't mean that karma doesn't come to visit him. It's just not doing it at the moment. It's taking a nap. It's taking a back seat. The outcome with Mike Flynn, though, is the walking away card. As Trump falls, Mike Flynn's irrelevance is gone. I didn't even look at the shadow card, the ten of wands. Huge burden. He's fighting off things. He's kind of, again, still a MAGA darling right now, but I think we're going to get our last laugh. It's not here yet, but it's coming. It's a hard fight because there's a lot of stuff that's out there that he has to fight off and deal with, and he may not be able to. He might just Page of Swords it and start giving up government evidence again. I have a hard time believing that, simply because he was in an agreement with the government before and he backed out of it. Why he would go back for seconds, I don't know. So, self-preservation. It's kind of windy out there today. If you see me turn to the left, we're getting gusts of winds. So we're in the middle of that atmospheric river that's coming through. It's not actually raining right now. It's sunny outside, or at least cloudy, partly cloudy out there. But the winds are 15 miles an hour with gusts up to 30. And we've gotten an inch of rain in the last 24 hours, and they're expecting another half an inch before the day is done. So it's a good blower. It's a really good blower over here. But Southern California got nailed and hammered with this storm. And I think the first part of it went bypassed the Bay Area and went to Northern California. But long and short of it, the Sierra Mountains to the east of us are going to get a lot of snow. And that's going to be good for, for drought and for the skiers, certainly on the short term, but for the long term, for the runoff that we get and filling up reservoirs and stuff like that. What does that have to do with Mike Flynn, you ask? What's going on in Rhode Island with Mike Flynn there? You got a bunch of people resigning their positions. King of Cups just flipped up there. I think that's the president, Patrick Connolly there. Don't have to guess what political party he belongs to and what side of that political party he belongs to, huh? Okay, Rhode Island. What's the nomination of Mike Flynn going to do to the reputation of the Hall of Fame in Rhode Island? It's going to bring it in. That organization's done. And that was one of the things in one of the letters that one woman who was on there, I think like a former state senator who resigned, basically saying, was advising the president to resign. It's like, you've damaged the reputation of this organization and you should resign. Said, your reputation can't be saved, and I don't think this organization's reputation can be saved by this action. So I think they're done and dusted. Well, it's done, and if they are going to resolve their reputation, it's going to take a long time. And the first thing you'd have to do is you'd have to remove Mike Flynn, apologize to everybody, have the entire board resign, and put on a new board. It's that kind of thing. Why? Because the current board is infected with QAnon crazies. This decision that they made, trying to save Mike Flynn from his actions that he took, kills this organization and its reputation in the state of Rhode Island. Interesting, because that was up here. In the past, you got the Four of Swords. I guess when you're not keeping Mike Flynn in the news 24/7 about the crappy actions he's taken about the United States, then you could just induct him into your Hall of Fame, because that makes perfect sense. It could be that this Hall of Fame, again, has been slowly infiltrated by sleeper agents, if you will. Now, I mean, in the end of the day, probably most Rhode Islanders don't care about the Rhode Island Hall of Fame. But it's freaking embarrassing that you're putting this guy in there. Good God. Seriously? Well, it would have been okay 10 years ago, but it's not 10 years ago. Current situation is the victory. Yep, they've decided that they're going to put Mike Flynn in. He's going to be the war hero. He is the hill they are going to die on. And it's brought a lot of attention to the board, and as have the resignations of the people who have left. This temperance could also be the people who left that board because of the decision that was made. Overarching energy is justice. Now, this is a kind of a double-edged sword, too, because from the QAnon point of view, celebrating General Mike Flynn as a hero, and they're trying to put down this Russian hoax. The problem is that there is no Russia hoax. It's an actual thing, which is going to basically bring a lot of attention to the people that put Mike Flynn there in the first place and what their motivations were. Rhode Island is not exactly the conservative bastion in the United States. But okay, sometimes the kindness is to let them do their actions and let them sort out the consequences. What's going to be the consequences, you ask? Well, I think a lot of their funding is going to dry up. I would imagine an organization like this really relies on donations from people. And with actions like this, yeah, you might get some money from the MAGA faction, but I think a lot of Rhode Island is not necessarily the MAGA faction. And with a bunch of the members, like 6 members, resigned from that board, a lot of people are going to hold on to their money. And because they're going to agree with the people who resigned that this is not maybe a good investment of their money. As much as they love Rhode Island and celebrating the people that are on there, if you're going to promote those kind of guys, they're going to hold on to their money. The outcome is the Queen of Pentacles. The board is maybe in the future going to look at their nominees a little more closely in the impact that the nominees have on fundraising. That's not exactly the reason why you do something like this Hall of Fame. But let's be real. That's the reality of it, is that you should be concerned about, not only fundraising, but the value of what does it mean to be put into the Rhode Island Hall of Fame. And I don't know if this organization is going to be around. I could do a little 4-carder on that one real quick here, if they're going to be around. But that nomination is a key pivot point in the future of that organization. I do not see that organization removing him. Not with those cards. I don't see that. I do not see them removing him at all. I think, if anything, knowing how the MAGA folks are and QAnon folks are, they double down. The minute you tell them they shouldn't do it, well, they're going to do it 10 times more because F you. But that could, if you don't have funding and support from the public, you're not going anywhere. You're dead. You're dead in the water. Okay. What's going to happen? Will they either remove Mike Flynn, or are they going to carry on? Are they going to die? What's going to happen with the future of the the Rhode Island Hall of Fame? Who it's going to be Sunday when you guys watch this. Who wants to see this? No, Monday, excuse me. Today's Sunday. Who's going to want to see Rhode Island in the Hall of Fame? Who woke up today being concerned about that? Huge disappointment. Yeah, I think this is going to be a really bad decision for the long-term longevity of the Rhode Island Hall of Fame. Yeah, they used to do some good stuff honoring people for the work they've done in the past. It was a foolish decision that they went down. And, congratulations. You got, look at all these cups. You got the 3, the 5, and the 6. You got your short-term victory. And by doing that, you've caused all sorts of turmoil. The Drunken Hillbilly Brawl here, Rhode Island style. No, I don't see a great future. It's greatly diminished. It's possible that it's savable, but you've got to bring in an all new board to review that. I don't see them removing him, though. Again, I don't see them removing him. I see the consequences of their choices, that this could cause the end of that organization or the end of that current board, but I'm not seeing them removing Mike Flynn on it. Maybe the removal of Mike Flynn's irrelevant, right? Okay. Another question somebody brought up was, will the military bring Mike Flynn back to active duty and court-martial him? That's been floated for years as a way to for the military to handle the whole Mike Flynn thing, because you swear an oath to the Constitution, you have to uphold the Constitution, And Mike Flynn has been acting in a way of somebody who's not upholding his oath to the Constitution. So, will the military recall Mike Flynn and then proceed to court-martial him? Because they can do that. And that will diminish his retirements. Entertainment purpose only. Will the military recall Mike Flynn and court-martial him? There could be movement afoot on that. There's some momentum to this. It's kind of like a natural progression. I'm always drawn to this little icon on the bottom of the card here. It looks like a spinning top. And it makes me wonder if they're waiting for the top to topple over. Once it topples over, then things happen. But it's like, I think there's movement here on this. It's not gaining a lot of steam, or it's not moving quickly, but it's moving forward. And there's your court-martial, leaving him out in the cold. Basically, it's like this is the stained glass is supposed to represent a large institutional organization, say like the church or the military. And these people here are outside this organization feeling abandoned. Now, they could go into that organization and get help, but they're so caught up in their woe is me that they don't do that. But I think in this case, what we've got is Flynn being knocked down about 5 ranks. Let's see, I go from a general to a colonel to a major to a captain to a lieutenant. He could be bumped all the way down from a lieutenant general to a first level lieutenant or a junior lieutenant in the military as part of this. I think there's a move afoot there. What's underneath the star card? Yeah, because he's a general. You know, he's a 2-star general, if I'm not mistaken. He's not a major general, or 3. I think he's lieutenant general. So I believe he's a 2-star general here. And I believe his star was going to wear off here. I don't know timing. In the past, I got the Ace of Wands. Okay, so this is that initial push that was being made that, you know, if Flynn's not upholding the Constitution, upholding his oath to the Constitution, he should be held accountable right now. And he's already been pardoned by Trump. I really should look that up to see if I've got that right. I'm pretty sure he was. Okay. For the sake of not perpetuating a myth, let me pause. Okay, we're back. Yes, a full pardon for his role, including his guilty plea in, working with Russia to get Trump elected. It's been so long since I've looked at that story. Come on down. So, looking at the military, dude was working with Russia. That's not exactly upholding your constitutional oath, is it? So there's a big push to get this started. So think of this as the push to get the chariot moving. The chariot's now moving. It just takes time. And as we've seen with everything in this country in the legal systems, things move freaking slow. And that explains that card before that was up here on Flynn. He was a spy for Russia. He's an agent for Russia. Well, he's an agent for Turkey. But, he was working with Russia to get Trump put into office. And that's kind of how the military is looking at him, is that he's a spy. Plain and simple. Didn't uphold his oath to the Constitution, worked against the office of the presidency, and he should bear the price for that. The overarching energy is the Queen of Wands. It's taking action, but this action's, you can see the way she's looking, it's off in the distance. There's going to be action against him. It's just not soon. And I know it's frustrating as hell because we want something to happen. But it's kind of like it's timing in the military, because if you bring it through now, with the current status of the House and the Senate, mind you, the military is different than the House and the Senate, but politically, it's not the best timing to do this. Maybe in 2025 they will do this, especially if you have a very blue Congress and a blue president. There's going to be less political fallout from pulling this maneuver. There's that Emperor card. Lesson learned the Emperor. It's going to happen. It is absolutely going to happen. You don't mess with your oath to the Constitution, and you don't mess with the military being a little bitch spy for Russia or for Turkey, and expect there won't be consequences. And they're going to be harsh consequences for him. Absolutely. There will be harsh when it happens. The outcome is the drunken hillbilly brawl. Just like in Rhode Island, when they bring this up, I'm sure Fox News is going to lose their freaking mind. MAGA is going to lose their mind. There's going to be all sorts of arguments and conflict over this. And maybe that's why the military's waiting on this one. They're looking in the future as to when they can do this to minimize this type of energy here. Because, again, if you've got the political cover, you should be fine. Now, let me take a couple steps back. David here does not believe in political cover. F you, doing the right thing is doing the right thing. I'm also a pragmatist. Just because I understand and I've got ideals doesn't mean I have to like things. And that's the hard part, is understanding that, my ethical and moral convictions are, screw that guy, make him pay now. It's now, make him pay now. But I can appreciate their point of view, if I'm reading this correctly, that they need some political cover to not rock the boat so much. Because I don't have to deal with the fallout or the consequences of it, right? I'm just literally, let me get down a little over here. I'm a talking head. A disembodied head on the internet. Some random disembodied head reading tarot cards on the internet. Okay. Michael Flynn, do you end up in prison? Prison. Does Michael Flynn end up in prison? Y'all had to suffer, I didn't bury the lead. Suffer through 27 and a half minutes of this to get to the part that you want. Get your knives out and sharpen them up. I hate to see if the answer is no. Okay. Will Michael Flynn be going to prison for his actions either with Russia or anything along those lines? He's certainly an election denier extraordinaire, but will he be going to prison for this? Not yet, but this is that funny. This is that card that was over here. That now they're investigating him. The cases aren't being brought yet. I was going to do a full card. Let's do the full 6-carder on this one. Oh, there's going to be a big push, though. He's lying low as far as that goes, but there's going to be a big push about reopening, probably like the Russia investigation, reopening things. Ooh. The thing about pardons is you can't pardon somebody if you're part of the conspiracy. So if Donald Trump's shown to have, been part of the conspiracy with Russia, his pardon for Mike Flynn would be null and void. That might happen during the Biden administration. Second to Biden administration. There's going to be a push to maybe reopen things. I'm wondering if they look at these pardons and overturn them. That could explain why everything's been put on ice and you've got the Queen of Wands up here waiting for the future in the hillbilly brawl because, oh, Lordy, you start overturning pardons? All hell's going to break loose. Okay. Wheel of Fortune in the past. So we're asking, is he eventually going to go to prison? Wheel of Fortune, it was up. It's kind of a karmic thing. He did the stuff that he needed to do to qualify for being thrown in prison. And now we have to let the storyline unfold. High Priestess. Look at all these major arcana coming out here. High Priestess, it's wisdom. The pillars of wisdom. That's going to be an absolute yes. they'll get more information on this. I really do wonder if they're going to overturn those pardons. Now, mind you, that's a wild take. It would probably be easier to find new charges to bring him up on, because he certainly continued, as criming crimers are going to crime, he certainly continued committing crimes. Absolutely. And they could be looking at that as well. But man, I really do wonder if they're going to overturn that pardon. They're going to look at agreements, who he's been working for, agents for like Turkey and stuff like that. The theft, the getting away with things, looking at his relationships. The theft, yeah, he's going to be going. Is he going to prison? Yeah, he's going to go to prison. They're going to catch him with some stuff. Whether it's new stuff that's come up from his past behaviors that they find out about, maybe they come to a plea agreement with him and he admits to his theft and they send him up the river. Or I really do wonder if there's an outside chance that that pardon gets overturned because it was an illegal pardon. That if Trump is shown to be in a conspiracy with Russia and that Flynn was part of that conspiracy, then that pardon doesn't count. It can be tossed out, legally challenged and tossed out. We've never had a president quite like that last guy, and all the rules that he would break. So we'll see what happens. Stick a pin in that one. If you start hearing about pardons being overturned and Mike Flynn's pardon being overturned, nobody's going to remember I said it. It's going to be too many years down the road. I probably won't even remember I said it. But we are in uncharted waters, as the case may be. So what's going to happen with Flynn? Looks like he's going to be. It looks like they're not pursuing anything right now, but maybe later. He's causing turmoil in his home state and probably going to cause the shutdown of their Hall of Fame. He will be investigated eventually for his crimes, and it looks like the military will probably bring him back in court-martial and bump him down to a second lieutenant, and then all hell will break loose, either with crimes that he's committed since his pardon, or even up to including his pardon being overturned and then him being convicted of being an agent for Russia in trying to get Trump put in the White House. That's a lot. That's really getting out there. Oh, by the way, I really should say for entertainment purposes only. And some wild accusations. Anyways, we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much for watching this video and supporting my channel. I appreciate it. Thank you for your kind words and your shares and your likes and everything you do. That helps feed the YouTube algorithm. For folks just discovering this channel recently or for the first time, welcome to the channel. I hope you found this reading insightful, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.